Hello and welcome to the High Altitude Investing live stream. Today is Tuesday, April 3rd of 2018, and we are going to be doing a standard Bitcoin technical analysis and then market review so you guys can request your altcoins and we can go over what's happening in the market and talk about this bounce and talk about the potential for a reversal out of all of this and kind of like how we should play the markets over the next little while based on the information and what the charts are telling us today. So yeah, let's just get some people tuning in here today. Welcome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Ooh, we already have people requesting altcoins. This is going to be a good stream. All right, so yeah, I guess we should start off with Bitcoin today. So I've been looking on the 4-day candlesticks on TradingView, and the reason for this is because I really like the way that the candlestick patterns are made on the 4-day candlesticks. It's a really weird time frame that people don't really usually use, but I decided to go ahead and apply it to the Bitcoin chart and see what happens. It actually provided a lot of clarity for me because it gave me some perspective on the way that this correction looks. Because this correction looks like a correction that is just has a lot of buying pressure behind it that's just waiting to explode at some point. I mean, everybody can agree, nobody can argue that volume hasn't just been increasing like crazy along this trend line really since 2016. So we have an explosive move preparing out of all of this, and we've just been really trying to figure out where the exact bottom is of this move. And I see a potential double bottom that's been forming basically since the bottom of this ABC correction. Originally, we thought we might have an inverse head and shoulders pattern play out here and then break above here and start going up, but we had quite a bit of resistance from our mean. So this is the mean right here. This lowest trend line that starts at about 3,100 per coin and then rides up to 56 and then up to 96, and then it becomes resistance at about 12. So if you understand market cycles, then the mean is the lowest trend line before it starts going up. So I always bring up this graph, but I'll just quickly show you guys really fast here where the mean is on the market cycle graph. So the mean is this very low trend line right here, this dotted dashed line that says mean, and it's below where the takeoff period happens, and it's when something starts to get overvalued in a market cycle. So once you start to go significantly above the mean, then you're getting very overvalued, and you need to come test the mean and possibly break below the mean in most market cycles where you go into the despair phase. So in my opinion, this is the mean of the Bitcoin market cycle right here. It's very clear to me that this is where we started to see some parabolic trend lines formed, and that's where we started to get very overvalued on the short term for Bitcoin, as we went from about 8,000 per coin all the way up to 20,000 per coin in the period of a few months. Couple months here. So it was a super quick, impulsive upside move that needed to shake out some of the new money. Okay, and so falling below this trend line, this mean, is actually very common, and it's really your optimal buy zone to be buying in the despair phase of any market cycle. So we just label this as despair. Below the mean becomes despair. Okay, so this is all despair, and let me just draw the mean here. And if you follow me on TradingView, actually, I did talk about this. Hold on. Let's just go to my Twitter. I can find the chart probably a little bit faster on my Twitter. Yeah, so I basically showed the standard market cycle here of overvaluation, media attention, new paradigm, despair below the mean, double bottom, and then this cloud resistance here where the Ichimoku cloud has very little resistance, and we've landed onto trending support where we should bounce. So this was just like a basic like overview of the market cycle that we are experiencing in Bitcoin. Now let me just show you the other chart that I wanted to pop up here as well. This is another TradingView post that I did, and this was on March 30th, so this is pretty recent. This uses a Gone fan basically, or a Gone box to project like time for a reversal. And I basically just show like the emotional cycle here, the market cycle that I see Bitcoin currently in. I draw like the media attention, enthusiasm, greed, you know. I go over all of the emotional cycles, and let's see, pull this up. And I just show how where the takeoff period is when it goes from about 3,000 up to 20,000 into new paradigm. So this is a very, very good spot for a reversal, you guys. This despair, we have a double bottom, we have sufficient volume, we're oversold, we've been in a heavy correction, we had an ABC correction. This is really an excellent spot to see some reversal action on Bitcoin. So I do suspect this to be a double bottom, although I will say that if 6,000 fails, I mean, it's totally possible for this market to do you know, a multitude of different actions and reactions and price pathways. But according to what I can see based on probabilities right now, I see a retest of 12,000 and possibly higher coming just around the corner in coming months. And that's just what I can gather based on the Elliott wave counts and the volume and the oversold indicators that we see in the market currently. So if we go into a little bit of a smaller time frame, we can go into the 1 hour time frame here and see what's happening. I did draw a bit of an ascending triangle here earlier when I noticed we had this bullish engulfing candlestick come in. The low was really about $6,427. Now a few people on my Twitter were asking me, can you have a double bottom formation that the next low doesn't go all the way next to the other bottom? So a few people on Twitter basically were asking if it needs to test exactly 6,000 again to be a proper double bottom. And no, there's no rules about double bottom formations. In fact, with bottoms and double bottoms, often you find there's a little bit of a difference in the bottom, and usually the left side of it is the lowest low, because we're looking to make a higher low here in the double bottom pattern. And that's what we've successfully achieved when we got this bullish engulfing candlestick right here, and then some signs for potential reversal on the upside of this correction that we've been experiencing since 20,000, and since we broke this mean, this trend line as well. We start correcting again here. So yes, you can have a little bit of leeway, it's common. And another thing that I want to point out about this wave here, because this is a wave, when you're counting waves, you can identify each wave as where a cycle starts. And this is very clearly a market cycle right here. You have oversold, you have overbought, and then we're going back into the oversold range again. So if you take your Fibonacci and you draw from the low to the high of that market cycle, you see that we landed right onto the 88% retracement and bounced up towards the 786. So the 88% retracement is an optimal zone for bouncing depending on how oversold it is and what type of wave count you have. But often I find cryptos bouncing on 88% retracements. So it is something to be keeping an eye on. And again, you guys, like, everybody always gets mad at me for being bullish on crypto, which I really don't understand because like it literally is the future, and this movement, this parabolic movement, is happening quicker than a lot of people realize it is. Going back to this Bitcoin chart that I made here, I drew like an actual cycle clear back in November. I was aware of the different accumulation breakout cycles that we were experiencing in the market, and I identified each cycle here as basically an A, B, C, D. That's not Elliott waves, that's just identifying each point in a fractal. And so this is basically just how I perceive the market cycles that we're experiencing currently in cryptocurrency. And if you just press play on this, you can see how it went from 6,400 up to the purple line where I drawn, and then I showed the little correction with the purple line. And if you zoom in, it's actually followed it pretty well here. And like I said, I made this back in November, so I was aware of the potential for correction in this zone, even though I did expect continuation at 20,000, and we did get a reversal instead. I was aware of both outcomes and made trading plans for both outcomes. That's what you guys need to do next time. If we're starting to go really parabolic, make a trading plan for if it reverses. Know what to do with your capital so that you can minimize some of that risk if we start to go into a correction phase in Mo's, so you can have some tether to buy, right? But for me, I had been selling it, a portion of my capital because I knew it was overvalued on the short term. At 10,000 at 15,000 per coin. My other sell order was a bit above 20,000 per coin, but we never hit it, so I'm just holding on to that coin currently. So you let the cycles play out. If you don't quite hit all of your sell orders, that's okay. Wait for the next cycle up. And in this chart, as you can see, I drew like a pretty significant reversal. And the reason for that is, just going back to that fractal of the way that this market moved. It had been accumulated in 2015 for years. I mean, right here in this B phase, where it's about $480 up to 1,000, that was just heavy accumulation. All of these cryptocurrency companies knew that there was some serious movement on the upside coming, and they were just accumulating everything they could of their coins in that area right here at 1,000. And that was right before really the first overvaluation phase, where we went up to 3,000 and then went back down to 1,800 per coin. So, basically what I'm saying is I'm expecting a reversal out of this. Anything can happen. We just want to watch support and resistance, but this is how I see the market, is that we still need to go parabolic up for those new all-time highs, right? And so this is an exciting time to be in the cryptocurrency space. So let's get into some altcoin TA for everybody, because I know that everybody wants to know about their altcoins, because if you go to coinmarketcap.com right now, you can see a very, very clear bounce happening across the entire market cap. You've got Verge up 47%, you've got Lisk up 20%, 28% on Steam. BitShares was up about 20% earlier yesterday. Sia Coin was up 15% currently. So we're having a pretty nice bounce on the upside. And if we go into the actual market cap, $250 billion of total market cap was super undervalued in my opinion, you guys. I just see cryptocurrency is supposed to be the new world currency, right? People are supposed to be using this to transact, and they are already, but that's where this is headed. And I just don't see how a $250 billion market cap with an idea that important really adds up. And that's just my opinion. You can think what you want. But in this sell-off, I was really, I've been accumulating. I've just been taking and I've been buying dips and accumulating panic. So let's go into the market cap as well. This is another thing, you guys. I pointed this out in the past. Do you notice how all the volume in cryptocurrency is right here at the top of this cycle? All of this volume comes in right nearing the highs. That actually signifies that the market is still really bullish, because markets that don't have demand generally have volume early on in the cycles, down over here when we were at 90 billion. This is where you'd have the really big volume spikes. And then after that, it starts to get overvalued. And as the demand leaves, the volume leaves, you basically have zero volume. If you go check Apple stocks on TradingView, you see zero volume at current levels. And it's because it's super overvalued. The early on market cycles have already happened. So the volume looks very nice on the coinmarketcap.com. And yes, it's not as high as the actual peak of volume, but you have to understand that these wells accumulate in panic, so they're not going to buy all in at once. You shouldn't expect equal volume across the entire thing. It's very normal to see this type of a volume structure and still have a strong reversal. So let me just take this. Anyways, happy trading out there too, by the way. I hope you guys have been, taking a little tether, buying panic when you can. Let's see how the live dashboard is doing. So the despair, Matt, is where you generally see a full-on reversal. And the reason for that is because that's where all of the weak money and all of the weak hands, or new money, as sometimes it's called, the people that don't really understand market cycles and haven't really made trading plans, have all impulsively sold so low that that's where the majority of the shakeout has happened. So all of the new money has been shaken out, so it can reverse at that point. So that's despair, and the reason they call it despair is because new money, or people that are getting into this, usually buy the top and then sell the bottom because it's a despair moment, right? It's an impulsive despair. So they're like in an emotional state and they impulsively sell because of the way that they feel. And if you just be really mindful of that, you'll catch yourself not selling in dips because you won't want to act upon that emotion. But yeah, that's what despair is. And we are in a giant falling wedge on the market cap as well. This is another thing that I pointed out on my Twitter. Let me just go see here. Here it is. So I just drew this big falling wedge. This is very applicable. We've started to bounce out of this falling wedge. If we break the major resistance of this falling wedge, we're going to see a lot of buying pressure come into this very quickly, you guys. This is the way that this consolidates. When you have a huge falling wedge like that, it's actually a bullish consolidation. It means that sellers are getting squeezed. They only have so much momentum. The first sell-off was pretty big right here from the top down to here, as you can see. And then the next sell-off was a little bit smaller. And then after that, the next sell-off was even smaller. And that just means that the amount of sellers are getting less and less and less. And so it consolidates in a wedge, or a falling wedge pattern like this. It's squeezing the amount of sellers. And so these are very, very bullish patterns. And you generally find them pop out and come retest, previous resistance levels. So for the market cap, we can see some of those previous resistance levels would be about 500 billion. And then from that point, we just got to see if we can hold the trend and potentially go up to break, major resistance. Because at the top, we did go over 800 billion. We hit like 820 billion. So that was pretty, intense there at the top. But we can break through that level again. It's totally possible. We just need to see this kind of reverse and see how it's rounding out as well. Whenever you have a rounded on the downside like this, if it's rounding like that, that also means that sellers are dying out. If it rounds over, that means buyers are dying out. Do you see at the top here how we made some resistance here at 680 billion or 630? And then we went up for 800, and then we kind of rounded off at the top. It started to round. That meant that the buyers were getting squeezed or dying off on the short term, and that proved to be true. We had that retest of this low at 285, and then even went for a new low at 258 billion, which is, totally normal. And when you go in for that last low, or like if you have 3 lows, that's another great spot to see despair, right? Because that means that people are like, holy cow, this just broke support 3 times. There's no way this, there's no way this could bounce now. And right when nobody thinks that it can bounce is right where all of the, money starts flooding in. Because here's what happens. Whales see the risk to reward, They come and they see that they can buy Bitcoin at 6,000 per coin, 6,500, and then set a stop loss at 6,000 per coin at the previous low, which is only about a 7% difference. So you have a really, really tight stop with a high reward. And so, risk to reward is the only thing that determines whether money floods into something or money floods out of something. Because that's how the market makers, or the people with, the people that buy at the right times, the people that use probabilities in their favor, they always use risk to reward. because it gives them, it gives them an idea of like the likelihood, how worth each trade is, right? How to determine how worth it is to take a certain trade. That's basically risk to reward. So yeah, let's get into altcoins now that I've talked about Bitcoin and the reversals. And let's go straight into XVG. All right, Verge dollar. So I have been counting waves on Verge for a minute now. If you go into the smallest time frames, like the 1 hour time frame, and then kind of zoom in what happened here, earlier this week between the 15th and the 22nd, we saw this happen, right? We saw, or earlier last month, I mean, we saw a left shoulder be made, and then a right shoulder be made, and a head made right here, okay? So we had a little inverse head and shoulders pattern down here at about 23 cents, or let's see, no, 2.3 cents. So, just under 2, or just over 2 pennies here. We started to see a reversal. And then since then, we've had basically where we broke the neckline, we've seen 100% on the upside in the period of, let's see, how long is this date range? In the period of 12 days. So it basically did 100% in 12 days, which is pretty good out of the inverse head and shoulders pattern. Oops, I did not mean to delete all of my waves. Let me just bring these back. Okay. Okay. And let me go into the bigger time frame again. It's always good to check, all time frames. I start with the biggest and then go from there. It's just good to keep like a very, very clear perspective on the market, So this was a 1-2 wave back here, and now we're making subwaves of the 3 wave, which means we should be breaking all-time highs at some point. According to Elliott's, we should go up to break new all-time highs, whether it's in July or whether it's months from now. We don't really know, but that's what the picture is painting, right? And we have a nice ABC correction. We have the A come down to about 9 cents, B goes to about 24 cents, and then like I said, the C finished at about just over 2 cents. And now we do have a nice volume spike coming in, and we've fallen back to this lowest trending support here. I will say this reminds me a lot of Stellar Lumens, you guys. If you remember Stellar Lumens back in the day, let me just go here. It looked exactly like this. It fell right back to the 88% retracement. Let me just show you here. So this was Stellar Lumens way back in the day, okay? This was when it was worth 0.001 cents, okay? As you can see, we had a market cycle go all the way up here to 7 cents and then fall back to 0.009 cents at the 88% retracement, and then it popped out really nicely and then impulsed, like from the 88% retracement, which is where I started buying this coin. It impulsed like 7,000%. It expanded really, really high up into the next market cycle. And so that's exactly kind of what I see Verge as currently. And a lot of these coins look similar to this to me. All right, Verge dollar. As you can see, it looks very similar. Let me just do the Bittrex one so you can see like all of the market cycles here. I drew this falling wedge a while ago. As you can see, it's been playing out very nicely. It's already broken out of it. Oops, that's the Bitcoin chart. I'm trying to do the dollar. Okay, here we go. Right, so this is an ABC correction all the way back down to the 88% retracement, and it's falling under the lowest form of trending support and picking up in volume and very oversold. So if this does what I think it's going to and goes in for a new expansive wave on the upside, you know, the sky is the limit basically. This will pop very, very hard. So let's get some other coins to do TA on as well. Tron, let's look at Tron. Tron dollar. All right, so let me just remove all this really quickly here. That was some previous TA of Tron, wasn't supposed to see. Had to get that out of the way really quick. So Tron is being heavily accumulated right now. So this is accumulation. Oops, wow. Okay, so this is an accumulation phase for Tron right here, which is very, very common. You know, this is again, you know, just the first wave in a new market cycle. We can tell this by seeing how much volume is being picked up right here. You just hover your mouse over this and you can see that this was, let's see, 2 billion US dollars, 2 billion, 1 billion US dollars. Yeah, so it's been averaging in the billions of US dollars all through this area. Now I want to point out something, you guys. Look at this. People complain about the volume in cryptocurrency right now, and I just laugh. I laugh. They're like, there's no volume, there's no volume, there's not enough volume for any of this to take off. And they're always like complaining and stuff about the volume. Come check out Apple stock, okay? I like to use Apple stock as a great comparison of its volume profile to the cryptocurrency markets. And when you check out Apple stock, this is that declination volume I was talking about when you need like an actual reversal, and how this is a lot different than what we see in cryptocurrency today. We do not have this intense of a declination in volume. I see crypto as more like this, right? Like these early stages where you have increasing volume like that before it does huge parabolic runs. But the point is that we can analyze Apple's volume profile and then compare it to what cryptocurrency is today and see what we can learn. And what we can learn is that the Apple volume profile currently, look, it's already starting to reverse. The stock market is reversing, you guys. The stock market's reversing. I recommend caution in the stock market for the next 2 years, just so you know. We're having very, very strong signs of a potential reversal in the stock market. And if we look, the volume in this reversal is like 198 million, 169 million US dollars, 138 million or 638 million US dollars. So we're under $1 billion in volume across each bar. And then if we go back here in its first little cycle, and this looks a lot like Bitcoin to me, this little market cycle right here that Apple did, very similar fractal in my opinion. In this area of Apple, when we were really undervalued at $2 and $28, we were experiencing in the billions, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion, 1 billion, 4 billion again. So the average volume was in the billions, okay? And this is a lot like how cryptocurrency is right now, you guys. We're in the billions in volume daily for a lot of these coins. And that's just like the early on market cycles for these things. So, you know, you just have to like compare charts, go find stock charts, commodity charts, you know, do your education, learn your Elliott waves, understand market cycles, be patient, be willing to hold through panic when everybody's scared, be willing to make trading plans and stick to them for yourself, you know. And those are all things that will just help you thrive in this space, so that you're not getting eaten up when you're not selling when the whales are buying, and you're not buying when the whales are selling. That's all you need to stop doing. And how you stop doing that is you use risk to reward, you learn Elliott waves, and you use Fibonacci to find your risk to reward ratio. And then, you know, study volume. Sometimes I use indicators such as the MACD to see if it's oversold or overbought. But you don't really need that much in your tool desk, right? You don't need like a majillion different things. You don't need 50,000 indicators and 12 books. Like you just need like the basics, and then you just need to sit down with a notepad or Excel sheet on your computer, and you just need to track yourself and play around, make it a game. You know, play with small amounts, learn risk management. Don't go all in on stuff. Don't go all out on stuff. For the people that are 100% in Tether right now, that's crazy. Why would you be 100% in Tether? That's so risky, right? You need to diversify your risk. So you have to understand risk management. If you're thinking 100% in and 100% out, then you'll always have the mindset of trying to nail tops and nail bottoms. And if you're always trying to nail exact tops and bottoms, you're really just going to frustrate yourself, you know, as a trader. It's about averaging in times of high emotional panic and averaging out in times of high emotional greed. It's not really about like, yeah, that's basically, that's basically all I'll have to say about that, honestly. So, anyways, more charts. Icon, yes, as you guys can see, I've actually been doing some icon TA in the background here. So let me just switch to the dollar chart, because I actually like the dollar charts better when I do technical analysis. It's less distorted by Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is Bitcoin can distort the, oh nice, we're starting to turn on the MACD as I projected. Bitcoin can distort the graphs if you're trading against the Bitcoin pairs, you know. So just be aware of that. Okay. 6 hour time frame. Zoom in. And as you can see, I counted previously that we had a very nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to $13. Rejection at 13, resulting in an ABC down, ABC up, and now we are performing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down. That is common in an ABC correction. From the B leg to the C leg, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. So let me just draw that again. Here's an A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See? And that's how you draw an ABC correction. So we did get a reversal off that 5 wave, which is perfect. A nice volume spike and turn on the MACD. We have some heavy resistance here, downtrending resistance. That was what was met at $4 here when we bounced. But we're starting to turn again, and I suspect a breakout. I suspect that we break above this resistance and start heading up, you know, for new highs, basically to start a new bullish market cycle. And these volume spikes are pointing this out to me. The oversold market's pointing this out to me. The very, very perfect ABC correction with very, very perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subwaves is pointing this out to me. So I see this as very probable to break resistance there and start heading up to, you know, some higher prices, $5, $6 over the next couple months. So, all right. We already went over Tron, so let's do RPX. RPX. Red Pulse. I don't think I've done TA on this one ever. So this is a first ever. Okay, so this is Red Pulse versus BNB. Do not need that. I want the Bitcoin chart, I guess, since that's the only one that they have. Okay, so how does one decrypt this? Well, in my opinion, this started out at the top of a bullish market cycle. So whenever you open a chart and you're like, okay, how do I make sense of any of this correction here? It's so weird looking. Because a lot of these coins just dump right when they get added. And the reason for that is because they're at the top of their market cycles when they get added. So you have to think of it like this, right? If the market cycle's right here, and then the coin gets added, oops, let me just go over here to draw this. You know, if the market cycle is right here and the coin gets added right here, it's just going to dump right when it gets added, right? Because it needs to complete its market cycle and then start for a new one, okay? So whenever you open a chart on basically any exchange and it just looks like a dump, that's just because they opened trading right at the top of the market cycle. It happens, you know, but that's kind of how you interpret that so that it doesn't confuse you. Like, okay, what is this dumping? It's just the other half of that cycle, right? So let's just take this and we remove all drawing tools. And then we can draw an ABC correction. Assuming that this is the top of the cycle, we go for an A and then a B and then a C, okay? And then we go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So counting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those are the subwaves on your way down. Okay. And now this is looking like a potential double bottom. We are showing oversold and trending up on the MACD. As you can see, bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. It's a bit of an ascending triangle on the MACD actually, which you can trade some patterns like that with the MACD. It's good to note them at least. And this does look like a nice spot to see a double bottom. So this, you know, if support holds right here at 819 Satoshis, this is very likely to bounce and start some market cycles on the upside. This might look like this. It might be really accumulated and take a long time. And do like a mini little one wave like that. And then come over like this. And then do a bit of an impulsive 3 wave like that. And then go for a 5 like that. Right? So it might take a while to get there. It might be like, you know, mid next year. Or, I mean mid-summer, not next year. Mid-summer, you know, into June, July, to like start that market cycle. And it might not be that steep either, you know, might be a little less steep. But this is likely to start that market cycle. You know, if support holds, then this is likely to start a market cycle because it's already done one on the downside, you know. And people just, when they look at this type of chart, they don't know how to interpret it. They don't know how to believe that that could start a market cycle. And that's really just because like they don't understand it. You know, you just have to look at that as the other side of the cycle. You know, it's just a mirror image. You've got the bull runs and the bear runs. So if you see a bear run, that's the left side of a market cycle. At some point, it's got to reverse at least a little bit. You know, it's how, you know, it shakes buyers, sellers. It shakes people out, and so the cycles are up and down. But yeah, now let's get into some more requests. Yes, the Dow Jones has been losing a lot of market capitalization. This is what I mean, the stock market is overvalued, you guys. I've been posting this on Twitter way back when I saw this parabolic movement right here. Like a month ago. I saw that and I was like, oh, that looks like, you know, Ripple when it was at $4. Or that looks like, that looks like basically every single chart. When I see like a double top and overvaluation from a parabolic move, like it looks very similar. You just kind of have like this, it looks like this. It's just like this little like bunny ears that happen, you know? And that's exactly what happened on the S&P. You just have like these little bunny ears, you know. And you can go and you can find this on, I believe you can find this on like pretty much all of these little market cycles back in the day here on a lot of these coins, like even going back to Ethereum here, yeah, even going back to Ethereum, you just have this double top. It's just parabolic right here, and then it just kind of makes like this W, you know, like a, I don't know, like bunny ears or something like that. And it's just like a double top pattern, and then you see downside, right? Downside down to $142, and then more upside. So yeah, I do see the stock market currently, and I you know, just quick TA for anybody that's interested in Ethereum. You can also follow me on TradingView to get this TA. But yeah, you know, I'm basically expecting a breakout of this falling wedge. Another thing that's interesting is that same pattern happened right here on Ethereum. You know, those bunny ears popped up, just like a bunny ear top or something, double top, whatever you want to call it. But that's, you know, as soon as the S&P 500 started going parabolic, I spotted it right away. I was like, okay, I've seen this a million times before, right when a crypto is about to make a huge reversal. This is very, very common. So, you know, some supports to be watching for the S&P 500 over the next couple of years, since it's a lot more of a boring market and you have to think in terms of years and months. Well, I mean, crypto you still do, but like the S&P, it's like seriously way longer feeling. So yeah, so we just take this and you can just draw support and resistance with Fibonacci like that. So those are the levels to be watching, you know, like 2000, 1700, and 1485. Those are like corrective areas that we can expect to bounce, and then it should go to new all-time highs after that again, you know, because overall this isn't a very big bull run, you know, and it has incompleted waves. It's been accumulated a long time. So I do suspect this to, you know, continue on its bull run, but on the short term, this looks like we need to see some downside. So, and they're flooding the stock market. It's clear as day on the news and everything. We're overbought. So it's just all the puzzle pieces kind of fit right into place, in my opinion, to see a reversal here. So, all right, XCP. Somebody really wants XCP, but please stop spamming, okay? I will do it, but only if you stop spamming. Okay. So XCP, what a coin. What a coin. Remove all drawing tools. All right, so just drawing the market cycle here. Just trying to find kind of what's going on here. Okay, there's a strong support line right here. Very strong support line. And if we count the waves, this would be a very small 1, 2, 3, 4, and one of those nice 5 waves. Like that. Very beautiful. Okay, this has a lot of volume, you guys. Counterparty has had consistent growing volume, so that looks nice. That looks very nice, actually. Okay, let's go to 3 days. I do think that this is the bottom of the ABC correction of this entire market cycle. Okay, so what I mean by that is this 5 wave had an ABC, A, B, C down, and that's the ABC of this whole move. So I do suspect this trend line to hold, and we will not see another lower low. We're also very oversold and turning on the MACD on the 3-day, and we've already oversold turn and headed up into the mid zone on the daily. 1 hour is starting to break out, head upwards. And we do see one of those last seller pushes, you know, where the sellers were just like sell, 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 and then they're done. You know, and you can see the Elliott waves very nicely here. This is an A, B, C up. And then this was just that last selling pressure, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like that, you know, the last wave down. It's like, I cannot do this any longer, so I just had to get rid of it. So that is a good spot for a reversal here on counterparty as well. So yeah, this could easily start heading back up to, you know, $16, and next resistance would be $20 after that. So keep your eyes on counterparty, people. Nice volume, you know, very nice volume. It's good to see accumulation like that along a trend. So, all right. TNB. What the heck is TNB? Time New Bank. Okay, I think I'll just do TNB on here. I want you guys to like remember how, you know, just how the community like acted and how they felt over the past 3 months since the beginning of the year. How everybody's just been so scared and panicking so hard. Just like, you know, take note of that and just like remember that next time you see that type of like reaction to something, it's probably because people didn't take enough profits, and so they're mad at themselves that it's going down, so they're having an emotional reaction to the market going down. And don't be scared of it, you know, like next time it happens, be aware of it and just like watch and just like see how people react. Like I posted on Twitter, I posted this where I did, where was it? It was pretty recently here. You know, I said, just for fun, I'm going to ask you a simple question. Up to 8,000 or down below 6,000. So I just asked people if they thought support was going to fail at 6,000 or if we were going to go up to 8,000. And just barely over 50% said up to 8,000. And that's a really small range, you guys, and we're really oversold. So it makes you wonder, like, why 45% of these people are saying that we're going to go down below 6,000 when we're super oversold, and we're likely to test 8,000 even if we are going to go down below 6,000 later. So like the risk to reward really does favor buying here because of that reason, the oversold amount, and there's just high uncertainty, you know, it's like almost 50-50. So I basically said at least half of you guys know how to play a double bottom. And when I said that, I just meant that you can buy next to 6,000, you know, the double bottom, set your stop loss at 6,000 or around there, and you have a really good risk to reward ratio. So that's how you play a double bottom, because it's not very risky to take positions. You know, it has a really high probability for reward and a really low probability for risk. So, and if you get stopped out, it's not that much. So that's why you take positions really low, and that's why you buy panic. That's why you do the one thing that nobody wants to do, is buy the dip, because everybody's too scared that, you know, crypto's dead forever for some reason. And it's like, seriously, everything's down 80%. Like, big picture, this is like such a good spot to be buying. And even on the short term, it's looking like we're getting, you know, reversals. So ABC down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is very nice volume here as well. So yeah, I do expect this one to reverse as well. It's oversold, double bottom potentially here at just over 2 cents. So looks nice and healthy. Good spot to see a reversal on time new bank as well. So, you know, where could you have to ask yourself, where could that go from here? Like, what is that going to do? Is that going to go like this? You know, it's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible. But, like, look how oversold that is, right? And look how rounding, and look at these volume spikes. So you just have, it begs the question. Like, are we about to see this happen in the market? Are we about to see like an inverse, shift in trend where people are like, oh, okay, this can go down, but it can also go up too. It can, because for some reason people think it can't go up right now on Twitter. They're like, no, there's no way. There's no way, they say, it's like, it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed to break support and go to, bubbles consist of many false double bottoms, but they just don't understand. They just don't understand like the valuation, the undervaluation, and the overvaluation, and then how to find the mean on the market cycle and then buy despair. That's really the secret. So, XPs. Okay, let's see. Digibyte it is. Got a lot of Digibyte hodlers out there. So with Digibyte, we're making the subwaves of the 3-wave. So I expect to see a nice round out on the support here, and then heading up for new all-time highs. Mid-year, towards the end of the year, we should be breaking all-time highs. So that's kind of like some quick TA on Digibyte here. Draws some downtrending resistance. That it seems to treat downtrending resistance well. So here's the other downtrending resistance currently. So if we can break above that downtrending at like basically current prices at like just over 2 cents, if we can get up into like 3 cents, then that will be a nice, clear confirmation on that reversal here to head up for new highs towards the end of the year. So that's my Digibyte TA. And then we can do some NXT. All right, so NXT is very interesting. This one had a pretty parabolic move on the upside and a pretty big panic sell-off afterwards. I do suspect this to be a nice spot to see some reversals again. Look at this, you guys. So much divergence. You have 3 new lows, okay? 3 new lows right here. Yeah, on the MACD, we have 3 new highs. So we're making lower lows on the price and higher highs on the MACD. So we've had divergence since February on NXT. That's a long time to have bullish divergence forming. So we do suspect to see this bounce out of this and start to go on the upside with the rest of the market cap, as these are nearing the bottom of their market cycles. And look at that. You can even draw the triangle that we're breaking out of. So that's good to see too. Very nice triangle that we're breaking bullish out of here. And then we will do Dragon and probably call it a live stream. So yeah, I love doing these for you guys. I was originally going to do the from start to finish TA video today, but somebody in my last video basically said, hey, I want you to do the market analysis more. So this week, because of the amount of panic and because of what I'm seeing right now happen in the market cap, I was like, okay, I basically have, I need to live stream for people. I know you guys really love it, so I decided to do a live stream today, But the start to finish TA video will probably come next week if there isn't anything too intense going on in the markets, or if anything really hasn't changed in my perspective from this stream. But yeah, this is good to see, you guys. All this buying, look at all that selling pressure just had to pop at some point, and it's happening, 55% up on Verge. So yeah, let's go to Dragon here and do some TA. It's up 10% today. That does look very good as well. It's again those three lows. Look, you going for a low, you going for a new low, or no, let's see. You going for a low, you going for a new low, and then you going for a last low, right? And when you get that, it's like boom, boom, and it's one more sell-off, one more bearish move, and then there's nothing left. You've had that last shakeout. So after that third bounce on the way down, these market cycles, a lot of times you just have like a strong reversal. And that looks to be like what's happening right here. This reminds me a lot of when Ripple bottomed out in early 2017. Like early 2017, you guys. Way back in the day. Over here, this right here. Okay. In this market cycle, we just had one low right here, we had a new low right here, and then we had a last low right here. And this was when Ripple was worth 0.0053 cents. And I was actually live streaming on YouTube in the beginning of 2017. Well, Ripple was at these super ridiculously low prices, and I was like, okay, I see a reversal. This is time to buy. This is time to buy, And I can show you my chart because it's pretty awesome, actually. I can show you my chart of when I bought that, because this is way back in the day. Right here, I saw this same type of bottom, right? There was a big bullish engulfing candlestick. We had like a double bottom. That last seller, right? The last selling squeeze, right? The last sellers right here. This reminds me a lot of all of these cycles. The last sell-off down right here. And that was clear back. Let's see, where is this? Clear back in the day when Ripple was 503 Satoshis. And I said buy sig, very simple TA, buy signal. And right here you press buy, play, and it literally did nothing from that point except go up. That was the absolute exact bottom of Ripple in that entire cycle, right? And so it's just, I see like a very similar thing happening in the market cap right now. The same fractal, or the same pattern that I've seen many times in the past is happening across the whole market cap. And you can see what happened there in Ripple, from 503 Satoshis up to 24,000 Satoshis. So explosive growth. And that's that same area, right, that it bottomed at. So all right. I think that we're going to look at the Dragon Chain. That looks like it's going to head up to previous resistance here. I would say your next real target is about $2, and it should take 1 or 2 months to get there. So just pay attention to that. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that tuned in today's stream. I love doing these live streams. If you appreciate and support what I do, you can always go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe. Share this content with your friends if you find it useful or helpful. so that they can also become profitable cryptocurrency traders. It's important to just keep a clear head, educate yourself, make plans for all the outcomes, and then I do expect this as my primary prediction, you guys, for Bitcoin through 2018. Somebody in my last video as well commented and said, do you still suspect to go to 100,000 per coin in 2018? Yes, I still expect to get to 100,000 per coin in 2018, or at least somewhere near or at around there. I see a strong reversal in this trend, and I personally don't really see the argument. Well, anything's possible. I've said that time and time again. But based on what I know about TA, the argument for further downside at this current point in time isn't looking very valid to me. So I expect this is the primary prediction to head up in this, this fractal here. So let's hope that this purple line continues to play out here, and we all, continue to play these markets as we go up for new bullish market cycles. And I hope that you have all been learning from this stream. If you aren't on the new website yet, go ahead and at least check it out. I made a YouTube video, or not a YouTube video. I made basically a video right here that is like my story. It kind of explains like my product and goes over everything. So just go ahead and watch that video if you would. On the new website. It just takes a minute to watch it. Let me know what you think. This gives you all the information about my course. If you do want to sign up, you can always use the discount in the description. Livestream 4318 will work until the 5th, and that will give you 20% off if you are interested in the VIP program. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in today. Hope that you've been learning. Hope that you've been staying profitable, and I'm excited to be updating on the markets in coming months as we, continue to paint this picture and continue to make these market cycles and, play them. So, as always, stay profitable out there, everyone.